Just this week, I had someone say, show me one real EV people can afford, or I'll never spend $50,000 on a car to save on gas. Seriously, I get hundreds of these comments every week, and the one question that never seems to go away is, when are they ever gonna make an affordable EV? I think anyone who thinks about getting an EV starts with 3 or 4 cars because honestly they're great options and they are the most well-known. So we have the Kia EV6, Tesla Model 3 or Y, the Ford Mach-E, but let's face it, they're going to get you pretty close to 50 grand by the time that you sign the papers, and that's just not affordable to most people. Today I'll show you 3 pretty incredible EVs that most people overlook. They'll give you almost everything these pricier ones offer, like range, aesthetics, and features, but they come out under 40 grand and honestly closer to 30 grand for some, getting you the biggest bang for your buck. Now, if you still want one of those higher end EVs, today's sponsor, CCF, one of the best nonprofit groups in the US, is about to hold their drawing for their annual Tesla raffle. Big thanks to CCF for partnering with me again this year. This is their 8th straight year raffling off a Tesla of your choice, a paid-for Cybertruck when that drops, or $50,000 cash if that's what you prefer. The Chicago Chesed Fund is as good as any organization gets. They're nonprofit, they've been around for more than 35 years servicing the Chicagoland area. Your money goes directly to helping those going through hardship, providing goods and services, job assistance, fertility treatments, and so much more. The drawing is just a few weeks away and less than 10,000 tickets are being sold, so your odds are better than most. Use code KimJava for $25 off when buying 2 tickets. Support this nonprofit in one of the longest running Tesla raffles at the link below, or go to ccfraffle.com and enter code KimJava for your discount. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, so off the bat, let's put this out there because prices have spiked on almost everything right now. Hotels are up over 20%, used cars cost 23% more, new cars are up 14%, and even going out to a restaurant costs 9% more right now than this time last year. So of course, when you're trying to buy something as complex as a car with thousands of parts and suppliers, good luck finding it cheap. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but just in my circle of friends, I can tell you that the gas prices have probably been the best thing to finally push them over the edge to actually consider buying an EV. So my first EV was in 2012 and it was a Nissan Leaf. It was great, but it had about 75 miles of range on a good day. And my second EV was also a Nissan Leaf in 2014, and keep in mind, back then there was only a handful of EVs to choose from in the first place. But today you have over 100 different EVs on the market to choose from, but only a couple of those truly check off 3 really important boxes. I've personally been driving only EVs for about a decade now, so I feel like I've got a good grasp on the perfect EV that meets 3 really important metrics. 1, cost. The EV needs to be under 40 grand, honestly closer to 35 if at all possible. Second, the EV needs to have at least 200 miles of range, but again, probably closer to 250 will give you bonus points here. That way you can comfortably leave your city for short trips on the weekends. And third, the EV should offer at least a few compelling features, since most cars at this $30,000 to $40,000 price point do. So here are my top 3 picks for the most bang for your buck EVs that check off these 3 boxes based on my experience and also what you guys have shared with me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and make sure that you guys are following me on there too if you're not already. I'll list off the base prices here, not factoring in any dealer markups that might apply. There's also huge news recently that the new US federal EV tax credit of $7,500 is being reinstated, and it will even include used EVs as well. We won't take that into account to keep it fair and balanced though. Alright, so let's start off with number 3 because this car has so many owners that absolutely love this EV, but it also has the most naysayers on the list. The 2023 Chevy Bolt EUV makes the list because no other EV can offer you so much range for so little cost. Subjectively, it might be the least attractive car on the list, but at a base price of 28 grand, you get almost 250 miles of range with the Bolt EUV. What's cool about this is that the car is 6 inches longer than the previous Bolt and also has 3 inches more leg room in the back seats too. It's incredibly roomy for its small footprint, and literally no one can compete with its range, price, and its features at $28,000, and that's without any incentives. And with a small added cost option, you can even have Super Cruise, which makes this car the most affordable way to get GM's hands-free driver assist features. Standard, you get 17-inch black wheels with red accents, LED daytime running headlights with sequential turn signals, electronic stability traction controls, and it is so affordable that you can actually bump up to the premium Redline package, which starts at $33,000, and it gets you vented driver and passenger front seats, perforated leather appointed seats, rear park assist so you don't collide with objects behind you. You get lane change alerts and side blind zone alerts, all standard with this trim level. It even has a teen driver feature that lets you activate a customizable setting associated with a key fob for safer drivers, limiting the speed and other features. I think that's pretty cool. So many of you guys have told me you absolutely love your Bolt and you would do it again. But the reason this car was third on our list was because even though it has really competitive range for the price and all of these features, it lacks in just one area. Fast charging speed on the Bolt is actually pretty slow, like 55 kilowatts slow, so you can only get 100 miles of range in 30 minutes of charging. So that's actually slower than any other EV sold in North America, except for maybe the Mini Cooper SE and Mazda MX-30. But those EVs have much smaller batteries and lower range compared to the Bolt. So even though you get a ton of range, you're probably not going to want to do too many road trips with the Bolt EUV. Now I do want to give you a hot take here because a lot of people are still fuming about GM's recent recall of 140,000 Bolts after a dozen or so defective Bolt batteries caught on fire a few months back. And by all accounts, GM has actually resolved it, and they're definitely not alone with the battery fires because BMW, Chrysler, Ford, and even Tesla have all had battery-related fires over the years. But the point I'm trying to make here is that battery fires in EVs are far more rare than fires in gas cars, in some cases by a factor of 10. So if you want to leave a comment about battery fires in EVs and you consider yourself an EV supporter, you're in some ways perpetuating the same FUD that's always thrown at Tesla and other EVs when it comes to them being falsely labeled as fire risks. Just some food for thought. Okay, so coming in at number 2 on the list is the 2023 VW ID4. Of all the things that have gone up in price, VW actually dropped the base price of this car by almost $4,000 this year. So it now starts at just under $39,000 before any incentives. So it's probably the most feature-rich car on this list, but the reason that it landed in second place is because the range is also the lowest on the list at just 208 miles. So it does offer much better fast charging speeds compared to the Bolt, with a peak charging rate of 125 kilowatts, which gets you from 10 to 80% in 38 minutes. But it's not nearly as fast as the top EV on our list and the best EV for the money. With the ID4, it almost feels like a lot of what you are paying for at the standard trim level is actually going towards all these really nice features. But then you're also losing out on range if you want to keep it under 40 grand. However, if you're willing to go up one trim level to the ID4 Pro for just 5,000 more, you get most of these same features, but another 40 plus miles of range, so you have about 250 miles of range total. Alright, after polling a few thousand EV owners on social, it was pretty clear that this car was the leader of the bunch because it checked off all of our boxes, and honestly, it looks great doing it. The 2022 Hyundai Ionic 5 was our top choice. At just under $40,000 in the base trim, it meets the price point, is packed with really compelling features, the range strikes a good balance between the other top 2 contenders, and if you are going to the next trim up, the range enters the Tesla zone as far as the 300-mile threshold. But the base standard range Ionic 5 gets you 220 miles of range, comes with 19-inch alloy wheels, a 12-inch touchscreen navigation, and a 12-inch instrument cluster. You're also getting insanely fast charging speeds at this price point with 350 kilowatt DC fast charging capability, which means that you can charge from 10 to 80% in just 18 minutes. If you were to upgrade to the next trim level for just $5,000 more, you'll get one of the biggest bangs for your buck in range, going up to 303 miles EPA estimate. That's a pretty massive bargain at this price point when you shop around, especially when you factor in that the Ionic 5 can charge as fast as the best of them. There's also so much more features at the higher trim levels, but again, if you're trying to stay under 40K, I think that the standard range Ionic 5 is an incredible value for the money. Of course, all of these cars would qualify for what looks like will be the new federal tax credit in the US, assuming you don't make too much to keep you from qualifying for it. So on this list, you could be looking at a $25,000 Bolt or a $32,000 Ionic 5 or ID4. There were other runners up that I also really liked a lot that give you the value for the money, like the new Nissan Leaf and the Kia EV6. So if those two cars are in line with your budget or style, they're also really strong candidates as well. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and as always, a lot of time and effort goes into writing and editing these videos, so if you learned something new or enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Also, be sure to check out our website, it's KimJava.com, for our high quality Tesla-inspired merch. There's the popular Circle Square Cybertruck tees, and we've recently added a whole new line of Cyber Summer and destination charging shirts for men, women, and kids, so be sure to check them out, and we'll catch you guys next time. Oh, no, just hit it. It's ready. Hit it, hit it, hit it. So it's probably the most feature-rich car.